glad as night. So the light from the sun would not burn me on my bum when I shoot the moon.
Hill's got it, driven into the ground with a pulverising tackle from Ambrose. Oh, I think the Bombers are going to go on with it here. Bombers and runs.
Baby, you been rolling solo, time to get down with the team. The grass is greener on that other side.
Welcome to the Windy Hill Windsock with me, the Solution, and joining me today is Christina.
Evening, Solution. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm all right.
Excellent. All right, will do. With us is Joe. Joe, welcome.
Thank you, Solution. Hello, Christina. Hope you're doing very well on another fine Sunday evening where we lose 5 in a row. Wonderful.
We have indeed. Now, you two are like full credit. You're 1 and 2 in the Windy Hill Windsock Crichton medal at the moment for turning up each week. One man who's supposed to be here is the correspondent, and I get a message about half an hour ago. I'm at the bar, still in Richmond, not sure if I'll make it, looking unlikely. So there's a guy not doing dry July, the correspondent. Remember when he did go dry for a little while?
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, it was definitely uncharacteristic. So he's definitely...
So is Sunday a school night, like on a Sunday night, does he always go out?
This is the man whose job is to go out for long lunches with clients. There's no such thing as a school night with the correspondent. He's
always thinking, always working. Okay.
That's right.
Even now he works, so lay off him a little bit. He's the correspondent. He is doing the hard yards, so, his liver's doing the hard work, so we don't have to.
Yeah, that's a good point. So anyway, the bright side is this might be quick. Now, this is where I want to start. I mean, between the hours of 12:35 and PM and whenever that game finished, nothing changed for me. It completely reinforced our strategy is right. It's all about kids. It's about new draftees. Those players were the ones who most excited me, who painted the brightest future, etc., etc. So, and the game was like another loss that we expected to lose. Disappointing how we lost in the end, in my opinion, but we will unpack it. However, there's one thing I have zero faith in right now, and that is the sports science / medical department, whatever they're called.
Yep.
We need a full review of this area of the organisation. And that review should not be conducted by the people running this department, by the way, because they also need to be subject of a review. I have zero faith, and I wonder, I think you made a good point, Joe, through the week in a chat, how many players are losing faith, how many prospective players would have little faith. This is one thing, without the pun kind of intended, but this will be the Achilles heel of the whole strategy if we can't get this part of the organisation right. And look, obviously we don't have the answers here, but what do you guys think?
Yeah,
I'm just claiming
to have the answers. Yeah, and we're not claiming to have the answers. This is purely our own opinion, and there's no inside goss or anything like that. But it's hard to imagine that anyone's feeling remotely positive about what's happening with the health department at the club. And I'm pretty sure the club's been conducting a review maybe as of 6 weeks ago. It's not something that's just about to be announced. And to be honest, I don't really care if they announce the result or if they're going to announce when something official takes place. I'd much rather just see results in action. I think we're sort of sick and tired of words coming out of the and the learnings, God forbid. So I'd much rather care more about the actions, and if everything in the club has changed except for the health department, well, that's a clear omission there that needs to be corrected, I think.
Hmm.
I mean, there are so many factors that fit into it, like a player's history. Is a player doing their proper recovery? Are they saying they're fit when they're not fit? Like a lot of that stuff happens. Then it's also, are they like turning over each stone that they can? Are they getting the right type of massage? Are they doing the right type of physio? There's so many. Are they actually out too long in their recovery? So
Is it the hanger? Is it the surface? Is it like yeah? There could be 1,000
The curse.
Yeah.
The curse. Yes.
Like sometimes, if for muscle injury, if you're out, if you're not exercising regularly, then you're not. Your conditioning drops, and so it takes you longer to build back up. So
And
then,
it's scar tissue
and if you sort of suddenly push yourself when you haven't done the conditioning that you need to do, then you're going to re-injure it. So
do you know what the irony is, though, Christina? There'll be people listening to you saying that, and they'll be saying, "What would you know? How would you?" That's so obvious. What? But these are legitimate questions.
yeah, and when with the very small amount of like training that I did in my fencing career, it takes a long time to understand your own body and what your body reacts to and what it doesn't react to. Like what I needed in terms of, say, training or weights or stretching might be different to what someone else does. Like I might be better at doing incline sprints, but someone else is better at doing long distance, like slow running. I might be better at certain like sit-ups or something.
But surely they're tailoring. They must be tailoring.
But at a young age, because these are just guys and teenagers and 20s and 30s. Like, okay, the older guys would have a much better idea of what their body likes and dislikes, so they should know by now. Like,
And by the way, no one's surprised because Christina, with her posh accent, her skiing career. No one's surprised you did fencing, by the way. No one is surprised by that.
Yeah, but
But anyway, we couldn't
we don't
possibly.
know. It's
We
so
couldn't
many
possibly have the
things.
answers. Yeah. All I could say is I'm fucking over it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense as well, because you're right, Christina, when you say the older you get and the more experience you have in playing this game, the more you know your body with all the recovery, etc., etc. Why is it that these are senior players going down with injury? Like, we're the ones playing a bunch of kids. Like, all we have are kids and the one or two occasional senior player. It's the senior guys who are dropping with injury and getting re-injured all the time. And so that's the question, and apart from Zach Reid, of course. But everybody else, basically, is a senior player who should know what they're doing. And, yeah, go for it.
Oh, sorry, mate. No, I was just going to say, like, I'm looking at the list now, and obviously we should say, obviously ACL's excluded.
Yes.
Nick Cox excluded.
Yep.
Harry Jones's ankle excluded.
That was a freak accident. Yep.
Draper set with his Achilles.
But there's things where some players say like oh my god, my brain's just farted. Harrison Jones, like he's still like TBC. Okay, like seriously, like what is actually going on with his ankle?
Yeah.
You should have a time frame by now.
Mackay.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's meant to be a toe, a big toe. As I said,
cut it off and be done with it.
That's what I said months ago. Just amputate, dude.
Jeez.
Daniel Chick method. It's more the Ridley hamstring.
Yeah.
I mean, Reed was the devastating one. You got Parrish, Langford. I mean, they've got form. Ridley has form.
Yeah.
It's just something's wrong. We don't have the answers. We could sit here speculating all day and all week, but
There is one guy. There is one guy. Sorry to interrupt their solution, but there was one guy who was in the club who did say that this particular player was not doing everything that they could in their recovery, and that was Brendan Goddard talking about sitting Joe Danaher, if you recall. Like Joe Danaher was there for a long time on the sidelines for 2 years, and BJ Goddard came out afterwards, after he retired, and said he questions how much he's putting in work in his rehab. So there is a bit of that as well, I think.
Well, we don't know whether current players can be painted with that brush, but the annoying thing was Danaher fucking blamed. Basically, when he went to Brisbane, it was kind of implied multiple times that now he was with a professional club.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were going to say, Christina?
Well, the other thing, like cold weather, doesn't help.
Yeah, but no one else is. Who else is?
Well, that's the thing.
Everyone's in
It
the
used to
same
be
boat.
hamstrings 4 weeks max. You know, other clubs are got players coming back after 4. I don't understand why it's this 2 month.
How does Geelong have a team? Jeez, cold weather. How does Geelong build a team every week?
Well, also, like we told, like telling us the wrong thing. Well, sorry, deliberately kind of being a bit untruthful about like the recovery. That's normal. That's part of footy.
Yeah.
But it does seem to be they become indefinite. They just. I don't think it's us lying. I think it's like we don't know. Like we really don't have. I think again, circling back, strategy's right everywhere else. There's no strategy. Yeah. I don't think here. One thing I do want to just before we move on, because we could just bang on about this forever. So there is a review going on now. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Is that the word on the street, or has it been verified?
No, that's the word on the street from people that I know have got connections in the club. Like they're not. So this is secondhand information, but I think it's been 6 weeks in the works now.
Fuck. So basically, it's a TBC in terms of how long it'll take.
Yeah, basically. And the only reason why is because obviously there's people actively in their jobs right now, and so they have to be very sensitive about that. But I do anticipate that there will be some substantial changes towards the end of the season.
Good
about that.
There has to be.
You know who we miss? Good old Reedy, Dr. Reed. Bruce Reed. He knew it exactly what to do.
Yeah.
Like he could look at a play, basically with one hand he could put a shoulder back in if it popped out.
No, he was like the character in Kill Bill who took out the eye of what was the actress's name again? The blonde actress.
Uma Thurman?
Uma Thurman went to train with him. He had big long Fu Manchu mustache, and anyway, he could with a little finger, he could probably kill a man, but he could also put a man's back in place. So yes, we do miss Doc Reed. Yeah. I think we miss Doc Reed was beloved, and everyone believed in Doc Reed. We've lost belief in the medical department. I wonder possibly whether that's why people or players aren't necessarily following to the letter of the law what that department tells them to do because they don't trust them. But anyway, not good enough. But it is small comfort, some small comfort to hear that it's been reviewed. All right, the game was a game of 3 quarters and 1. Let's just do Herds and Hennemans. You did the Henneman last week, Christina. Is that right?
I can't remember. That was 2 weeks ago.
You did. Yeah.
Okay. We got the young guy Joe. He can remember. So you do the Herd. Joe, you do the Henneman. And I don't know, the Henneman. The only thing I'll say is, if you're able to, can you mention some of the players that dropped off in the last quarter?
Okay.
Because I think it would be, there's some obvious candidates for Henneman. of the entire game. But I'm disappointed with that last quarter.
Yeah,
We'll get to it. We'll get to it. Go, Christine.
Oh, am I doing the herd?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yes.
Doing the herd.
Oh, God, sorry. I thought you... Anyway.
Oh, do you want to do the Henderman?
Do you want to just have a lie down or go watch some fencing on YouTube?
Oh, I'm already lying down.
Ah. Nuts.
There we go. There's my face.
Horizontal. Yes, sir.
Is it a spectator sport, fencing, by the way?
No, it's shit to watch. If you don't know what's going on, it's great fun to do. Like exhilaration, the rush you get when you hit an opponent with a perfect hit and you get the timing right. But to watch it, it's...
I'll tell you what, it is one of those sports. It's one of those sports. It's a bit like if you watch cricket with a tennis ball, it'd be boring as batshit, in my opinion.
Mm.
You took off the armour, fencing would be must watch. Let's be honest.
Well, you wouldn't get very many hits, that's for sure, because everyone would be keeping their distance. And do you know that okay, I'll give you a little thing. In the 70s, it was during a fencing match. I can't think, it was an Italian and maybe someone else. So they challenged each other to a duel. And the only place that they could do, well, just a duel. And they had the only place that they could do it that hadn't been outlawed was Romania. This was in the 70s. And so they went to Romania, and the rule is to first blood. So not kill, but to first blood. And so and it's just because they were pissed off with each other during a bout. And so they actually did it till first blood. I think they survived and they were fine. But yeah, but it's actually outlawed. You can't duel. But yeah, so anyway.
Well, I need to bring that back. But anyway, the world's gone soft. But okay, enough procrastinating. Give us your...
Okay. So quick noms. I'll give a little nom to Archer Main for his lovely 3 goals in 3 minutes.
I'll tell you what a weapon his leg is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know it was a different leg, but that was Scotty Lucas-like.
Yeah.
We knew he had it because he had that floater a couple of weeks ago that managed to go 50 metres. And so we were like, oh, imagine if he hits it purely. He hit it purely from, 52 metres? And the ball went through mid-height. That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
He was kicking it from about 57, 58, I reckon.
Yeah. He could have probably had more goals, but Caddy kept jumping in front of him in the marking contest and Peter Wright. So Caddy, just calm the farm. Not every high kick is going to be yours. Stay bottom of the pack and let your teammates.
They've played 3 games together.
Yeah.
And also Caddy has been, I mean, obviously with 2 metre as well, but he's been the guy to leap and contest at every contest and keeps working to get to every contest. So I don't think it's a selfish thing. I think it's just just learning how to play together.
I think also Kako had a good first few quarters. Probably he looked really quite threatening.
Yeah, it was terrific.
And a lovely goal that he kicked. I think Calders did a lot of the grunt work within the centre bounces and did some lovely stab passes forward as well.
Took a decent mark too.
Yep. Then we've got to go to... Well, then Merritt in his rightful position in the midfield.
Yep.
Just stay there. I think our midfield, along with Duz and Setterfield, they got their mojo and they did some, some of their set plays. They got through and they actually started to get their rhythm back together. I think that's once we get Martin in there as well more often. We're going to start seeing a much more improved midfield group.
Can we just pause on Sammy Durham?
Yep.
Makes a difference, doesn't he?
Yep. Like
There's a spark in there.
what he did in the first quarter with his intensity playing that mid to half forward is that he set the tone for the forwards of like, this is the intensity that we've got to bring. Well, not just the forwards, the whole team really. And so you have someone like that set the tone. We were able to pretty much maintain it for 3 quarters.
Before the cliff.
Yeah. And so that was so important what he brings when we've got a lot of other missing half forward players that or forward players that are inconsistent.
Yeah. He's a triple. Sorry, you go, Joe.
I was going to say he's our Christian Petrarca. I just look at him and he's just got that striker, can run and gun. Disposal might not be the best, but on his day he can win you a game and kick you a few goals and have 25 disposals.
Yep. Hard at it.
Yep. I mean, I reckon I'll probably I'm going to give it to Duz, I think. I'll give it to Duz just for his impact. I know he sort of faded away, but
had a few mates.
Yeah. And I know it's probably you could easily give it to Merritt just because for the possessions, but I think for the pure energy that he brought to the team that we're missing, I'd give it to Duz. And just one thing, with Ridley coming back, and it was really nice to have him back. Nice to have his kicking, and sometimes he'd run up into the midfield and do handball kick chain. We missed that. Having him in freed Angus Clark from the back line, and he was able to switch into the wing, which meant he could come forward and help Dersma and Llewell out. And we really missed his forward presence and the grunt that he brings as well, and his kicking and marking ability. So I think having Ridley back really helps our setup on the ground much better.
Agree. Joe, do you want to mention anyone else?
Thought good Archie was very good again. I thought there was a period there in the third quarter where he was 1-on-2, and it was a certain goal going Gold Coast way, but he managed to beat the both of them to get the ball cleared out again, and he had his good kicking boots on as well. I wanted to give a shout out to him. I thought he was good again.
I'll tell you one thing I observed on the weekend, and I was at the game, still rubbing sleep out of my eyes. It was that fucking early. But being on the wing, and I can't remember who the Gold Coast player was, but there was a Gold Coast player who kicked it, and Archie kind of did the whole smother bump type thing on him as he kicked the ball, and that guy got up slowly. He laid on the ground for a good sort of 5-10 seconds
because his head hit the ground, but it wasn't because of the contact. It was when he fell, his head sort of fell back and hit the turf. It wasn't because Roberts hit him high.
But he fell forwards, I thought.
No, they showed the replay. I watched it on TV. I know the one that you're talking about. Okay. It was on the big Ethan Reed guy. It's because his head hit the ground again. It wasn't because of high contact. So he should be clear.
Oh yeah, he'll be clear. Like I was just going to suggest. I liked Archie's intent just in that little passage. He wants to hurt people. He wants to physically impose himself, even though he's not a big guy. He plays like he's a big guy. I can think of some players who've played for us in the past who are much bigger that sleep with the lights on. But no, he's fantastic.
Yeah, he was awesome. And I liked Lual's game as well. Yeah, obviously he disappeared, but yeah, his evolution. The difference between VFL and AFL is actually quite ridiculous how good he is at senior level. Well done, son. Honestly, well done. Everyone had him delisted start of the year, and now we all love him. We all want to name our second son Lual.
The AFL maybe. There's some kind of nickname in there. Yeah, he looks like he belongs.
Yeah. But I know we get to the Henneman, but we've got all these young guys that they're all going to fade, especially with the intensity we gave at the game. And compared to the Fremantle game where we took it easy in the third quarter and played defensively, and then we picked it up in the fourth. As I said, I would have preferred to have kept the energy up for 3 quarters.
Yeah, and I don't know that it's entirely in our control either. Like even that Freo game, there were probably some things that the opposition were doing that we were slow to react. I think we're slow to react to momentum shifts, which is kind of what you expect of a young team.
Yeah, and we overhandball
Oh yeah.
And they're all like close together, and they're trying to handball instead of spreading and moving forward. They're kind of just stagnant, waiting for the ball, and it's like, anyway.
As you say, a solution. We are like dry toast, no spread.
Yes, that was on the Bomber Banter.
It was on the fan cam.
Someone from the Bomber Banter will be subject of the douche award later. There's a little bit of a teaser. Fiona's just perked up in her chair. All right, go Joe. Give us a Henneman. And re my task about last quarter.
Yeah,
it's probably unfair because you can mention that's the whole fucking team. Let's be honest. So you can respectfully decline that request if you like. It's probably unfair.
Well, it really was sort of a bit of a demolition out of the midfield, really. What ended up happening in that last quarter really was their mids just completely on top of ours. I guess where we were so impressed up until 3/4 time is how we were able to keep it close because we would, I think, for the most part, better around the ball than they were. And what we had in place was working. Setters on Raul was great, really curbed his disposals and his clearances. Obviously, Raul's a gun player, and he made up for it with a ridiculous number of tackles. Ended up with 17, which was his personal best for his career. Again, so Raul worked his way through it, but I do think that his impact was significantly limited. And Noah Anderson, I think, had like 10 touches to halftime as well. So what we had in place was working, and I thought our midfield mix was certainly doing great, and Goldie was doing really well against Moyle up until 3/4 time. I do think that he sort of dropped off in the ruck, and I think Moyle started to get on top, and when Goldie would get his hands on the ball for the tap down, it was not overly to our advantage a lot of the times, and it was mostly then really that the Gold Coast mids just all started firing on all cylinders. And I'm sure Dimmer Hardwick would have given them a sort of a rev up at 3/4 time, saying we can't be losing to this mob, not with our finals aspirations, our game in hand, the tight race for the finals. This is it. This is our time, and probably really put the onus on that midfield mix that wasn't getting it done for the most part. So obviously it doesn't help that we lost Caldwell with that ankle injury, sort of halfway through the last quarter. But even by that stage, the margin was starting to balloon out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was already done by then.
So I'm not gonna absolve him of a last quarter drop off. So I think he's also to blame there. I think Durham really maybe spent a lot of the tickets in the first quarter, in the first half maybe, to give us that dynamic spark. Come end of the game, just didn't have that much as well. Merritt had to be a bit more on the ball to win the first possession as a result, because Setter's, his mitigation of Rao substantially reduced in the last quarter as well, started to get his hands on it more. So I'd say Setter's dropped off. It really was unfortunate that it was a collective drop-off by our midfield group. And Nick Martin occasionally would try to go all eggs in one basket, be fully committed to try to win the ball, and then end up missing it, for example. And then they pounce on it. We're out of position.
Yeah, I don't think he had a great game, Nick Martin. He
did not.
He shitted me a number of times.
Correct. That wide open handball over Hobbs.
Handball miss.
Oh, unreal.
Have you seen a worse handballing team in your life than this current Essendon team?
Nah, we're up there. Maybe the North Melbourne from a couple of years ago, potentially as well, but it's quite poor. And I think we resorted to go with the handballs because our kicking was no good. So we decided to try and handball our way through teams because we can't hit targets by foot. Unfortunately, very few of our handballs end up being to the advantage, or they're always to a stationary target.
So we're exhausting options. The kick's no good. The handball's no. What's next? Tunnel ball, possibly? Just tapping the ball?
Tap it forward. We play volleyball or Quidditch or something. I don't know. Grab a broomstick, mate. I'm going to say collectively it was a midfield spanking in that last quarter. And even when they tried to push forward, when the ball was in our forward line and they tried to push forward to try and lock it in, they were ineffective in doing that as well. And the Gold Coast Suns were able to muscle their way through, to handball it. And you could see clear as day where the difference between the two sides are.
Yeah, okay.
One team can stand up under immense pressure because we were applying pressure. To our credit, I thought we applied pressure quite well, so did they. But they could handle it for longer, and their skills, gathering, there was no fumbling there. They would gather, they'd shoot a handball. It connected, and they were able to cut through us. We, on the other hand, would try to attack them back, but the poor skills in the midfield, that we messed each other, we fumbled, handball behind us, or too low. It was, that's the story of Essendon really for the last few years, hasn't it been? So I'd say, yeah, go.
I mean, one thing I will say, Joe, and I know we're all of us are having to pick up the slack from a correspondent who's still drinking at the bar. That was a little bit of an in-depth analysis. It's not really on brand here. You've gone a little bit too deep there. No. That's a little bit too much quality in your assessment. So
this is last quarter drop off.
Yes, just a gentle. That's right. Just a gentle, reminder there. But very good. Give us your Henneman.
All right, I want to give it to Perkins, but I'm not going to give it to Perkins.
Fucking why not? God, he shitted me.
Look, I'm just going to accept that this is who he is.
It's not who he is though. It's he could at least he could rack up 14, 15 possessions and kick a goal or two. That's what he was doing at the start of the year when we were all saying he's below expectations of what we think. But this current Archie Perkins, he's worse. He seems to be getting worse and worse each week. I thought maybe being the sub might have
jolted him
a little bit, but far from it. He's just fucking shit. He needs to be dropped. I'm sick of it.
We were saying this last year about him. Like, there was a period of time where he was, again, last year, getting progressively worse and worse and worse. It was a period of like 8 or so weeks, and none of us could believe how this guy was still in there. It got to a point where it looked like he was begging to be dropped before he was finally dropped. And here we are again, talking about the exact same thing.
And honestly, at this point, it's almost not his fault now. It's almost like, well, Brad Scott, why are you picking him? He's clearly not up to it. He's clearly been exposed. He clearly he's not chasing. There was a couple of moments I saw live on our side of the ground where he's just effort shit out. So is he carrying something? I don't know, but yeah, I've had a gutful. Yeah. Sorry, I just repeated myself.
Look, I want to give it to him, but I just feel like that we've given it to him so many times. And
I did say last week, let's stop picking on him, but no, I'm back to picking on him.
Yeah, I was about to say we've done a full 180 here on this panel in relation to how we're treating bad Archie. Look, I actually wanted to give it to Nick Martin. I actually wanted, not because he was the worst player on the field, but just because how much he shitted me. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, for me now, after these 2 years of Archie Perkins, I cannot. I find it hard to believe that Archie will end up making it in the future now. Because if we're asking for him to be dropped and to be done with basically VFL and whatnot, it just feels like to me it's unrealistic at this point to be placing a lot of high expectation on him. But Nick Martin, on the other hand, we know what he can do, how the prodigious talent, really, the work rate, and it just felt like this was a game where if he was on song, if he really was playing well, we probably win this game, maybe, because I thought all around the ground for the first 3 quarters we did great, and it was no thanks to him. I feel
no. So that and some shit goal kicking. We could have been 20 points up in the 3/4 time.
Yeah,
could have changed things.
And if they weren't so ridiculously accurate, like, they couldn't miss to save their life, honestly. Like, it was ridiculous. They were, 10 goals, 2 or something from set shots. They did not miss a set shot within 40 metres, on the day. So, good kicking is good football, etc. But I want to give it to Nick Martin, because if he was there and he was putting in the hard yards like Duz was and like what Merritt was, if those 3 were firing, we probably might end up winning this game, as opposed to having us be only 3 points adrift at 3/4 time when I thought we were the better side by then and could have been maybe 20 or so odd points up and putting some scoreboard pressure. But, not
to mention the 3 goals we gave in each of the last 30 seconds of the first 3 quarters. Can we stop that, please? Please.
Simple tactic. Kick it high and long into our backline, and Laverty will shit his pants and give away a free kick because he's outsized. Like, I don't want to give him, like, he's Henneman worthy as well, because too often he was caught out of position and then would give away blatant, obvious free kicks, which all inevitably led to goals as well. But he shouldn't be playing. Like, he's 5th in line in our defense, and he's lining up on King, who is like, I don't know how many inches taller than him. It's ridiculous. Pull up the ruler. Like, the mismatch off the charts. So we're always giving him a bit of a chop out, aren't we? The Purple Heart to Laverty, but he gave up a few goals.
All right, we're going to move on because I said we're going to do a quick one, and we're already nearly 40 minutes in. Around the grounds.
Apologies.
No, you're right, mate. Again, picking up the slack from somebody who really should apologise. Around the grounds, Carlton again. Oh dear. Yeah, the gift that keeps on giving.
It's just a black hole of an abyss that they just keep digging and digging themselves deeper.
That's right.
And further into.
I mean, preliminary final to, what is it? They're 12th. They've lost 3 in a row.
They're in freefall.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
It's wonderful.
And good for the draft picks.
Perfect
again. For the draft. So Saints lost. I'd like them to leapfrog us and Melbourne. And Melbourne lost as well after looking good for a half. So our draft hand continues to look strong.
It does. And our next generation academy players continue to look good as well. They both played again on the weekend, and they're both super exciting players. They could end up being first rounders.
Who are they, mate? Tell us again.
Swade and Al Ashar, our 2 NGA academy players. And Jay score involvements. Swade's more of a midfielder who is really dynamic and can burst out of the centre square, and he's a good user kicking the ball inside forward 50. So that's perfectly addresses our needs. Unfortunately, he is a bit on the smaller side in the 180 centimetre range. But hey, we've got one on our team, and he's pretty good, and he happens to be the skipper. So if we can have someone, obviously not saying that he is going to be a Zach Merritt type, but if he's that type of player, then that's great for us. And Al-Ash'ar is more of a small forward. He's going to link up perfectly with Kako. They're going to be a great duo, and I'm looking forward to having these two in, and then Gresham and Perkins can go out, and our team will instantly be so much better.
And wallahi, I love the way you say that guy's name. What is it? Ashlahi.
Ashar.
Ashar.
He's Lebanese, so I can say it that way.
He's a brother. So
he's a brother from a different mother, yes.
Excellent. I love it. All right. Anything else anyone wants to mention on the other games?
No, I didn't see any.
Richmond have heaps of injuries.
Oh, yes.
We're going to... If we lose this week against Richmond, look, it'll be good for the draft pick, but at the same time, it won't be good for my mental health if we lose to this Richmond side.
I'm currently stroking wood.
I'm touching it right now.
You're laying down, stroking wood. This is what you're telling me.
I'm knocking it now.
Knocking wood.
Okay. Just thought I'd clarify there. Yeah. Well, that won't be good though, because if we win next week, we
need to win for the morale of the boys and all the newbies who haven't been in the centre of the huddle for team song. We need to win just to keep their spirits up.
So for those that don't know, because of course I do, how the NGA stuff works. We could trade down, couldn't we?
We could.
If these NGA picks are good and go in again next year, because I heard the draft isn't quite as strong.
That's correct. It is a compromised. It is a weaker draft, and it is also fairly compromised with a bunch of father sons and academy picks. Now we are part of the compromisers because we've got 2 next gen academy players in there as well. So for us, it doesn't really impact us as much as other teams that don't have a father-son or an NGA player in the draft to come. So for us, we're not overly concerned. And if anything, it would be great if bids came for these guys in the second round. Thankfully, we do have lots of picks that we've traded. Very shrewd by Rosa. In Rosa, we trust the process. So we are perfectly set up to potentially get a player in the first round and then getting these 2 next generation players in the second round of the draft this year.
All right. It's exciting.
Yes.
Do you have a douche or deity?
I just have a small deity nomination, and that it's citrus season, which means we've got lemons on our tree.
Yes.
No more supermarket lemon.
Preach.
Nice.
I want to hear your douche, man. I got nothing great to say. I want to hear your douche.
What I should say, we're on the subject of homegrown. I finally, just on Olive Watch, because I spoke about my olives last week, finally finished curing them, put them in some brine, and then I had a stomach ache by yesterday afternoon. I'd eaten so many. I've got so many of them. I've got mountains. If anyone out there listening wants some olives, we should come up with a competition. Got like a bucket. Good? They're actually beautiful. They are beautiful. So, yeah, I'm pretty
so is the stomach ache from having too many or something with the brine?
No, too many. I just ate because I was eating them and then tasting them and then eating them, and then I put some in with some lemon and herb and a bit in some oil and add a few more, and like a kid on Easter morning, I end up with a gut ache. But anyway.
Oh, I do have a douche. The AFL's decision to penalise players retroactively in terms of contacting an umpire, having contact with an umpire.
Well done.
4 times, but it includes everything that you've had from 2 years ago. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Who in their right mind in the AFL thought this was a good idea?
Probably Brad Scott.
No, it's not him. He's not happy with umpires and
he's very unhappy
moving in the corridor. Yeah, talk about grandstanding. Yeah,
that's right. Caddy was cleared. No problem.
Yeah.
I think the AFL department shut the bed when Brad got stuck into them and thought, oh, we better let Caddy go.
Yeah.
We don't want angry Brad.
Brad used to see the HR files. Don't forget.
Exactly.
So,
we got to see some North Melbourne raging Brad. We haven't seen North of Brad in a while, have we?
No, I think he keeps that card for rare occasions.
And good on him to defend Caddy like that. That's you love to see that in a coach, to bat for your player like that.
Yes, agree. No, but my douche is the person who appeared on Bomber Banter, who I've been saying for years is going to come on. Somebody who this podcast knows well. She's listening, I know. I've said, come on this podcast multiple times. Oh, I don't know, I've got nothing to say. And then lo and behold, appears on Bomber Banter. So, Joe, not happy. You are the douche.
Not me, the other Joe.
Yes, another Joe. Yeah, female Joe. Yes.
My viewers, it's not me.
Yes.
Is that a Joe I know?
Yes, I think you know her also. Yes.
Ah.
So, yeah.
Bad form, Joe.
Correct. But we'll try and get her on the podcast. And she had lots to say. For someone who has nothing to say, had lots to say. So, there you go. She's appeared on the podcast now, despite trying not to. So
this is audio.
You've only got yourself to blame.
Yeah, like if you can front up live to the world with your face on, surely you could do.
Do you know
audio like this one?
How long it took Fiona to coax me to do it? So anyway.
I'm still ducking for cover.
No, you've done well so far. Yeah.
Like a boxer.
Yeah. Like a fencer.
Whereas Joe's everywhere.
Yeah. I'm a bit of an everywhere.
Are you still doing watch-alongs?
I do it. I've started doing those on a Thursday night. So we have a Thursday drive home live stream on the Centre Bounce, and then a bunch of people will like to me, hey, can we do a watch along because this game looks really boring and be happy to watch it together. So we're getting about 20 people watching concurrently with me at the same time, which is not too bad.
Okay.
So some random guy came on, is like, oh wow, you're great. If you're commentating the same time as Kelly Underwood, you'd have 1,000 viewers. I'm like, not sure that's a compliment to me, more so a diss at Kelly, but
I fucking hate Jared Wheatley, mate.
I agree.
Jared Wheatley thinks he's William Wordsworth, and he's saying something profound with every fucking piece of commentary. Just stop trying to be a poor man's Tim Lane.
Yep.
And just commentate the game, brother.
Yep.
Without this week, I had to listen to the first quarter on the radio because I was in the car. So I had on Triple M. I kid you not, they spent more time talking rubbish and making jokes that when one of the commentators, I don't know who it was, because Brian Taylor was on, one of them, when he actually did try to, call the game, said, oh, not much is happening at the moment. It was 4 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to know what's happening because I'm driving. I can hear whistles going in the background, and you're just talking shit.
Yeah.
Making jokes about. Oh, it got me really annoyed. I was really annoyed.
They don't make commentators like they used to.
No, just call the game.
Old days of Jack Dyer saying his arms went up like great big testicles, and he meant to say tentacles. But anyway, okay, quickly next week. So you're saying we we can't lose, Joe. Is that your
yeah. They lost Sam Lawler, who's like their best player at the moment, to a hammy in the first 5 minutes. Obviously, Tom Lynch is rubbed out. Noah Bolter would be rubbed out. Like,
he could have been a douche, by the way, Tom Lynch.
Oh, Joe's. It's a culture problem there. They love to swing their arms at people at the Tigers. Risking head and shin, as they say.
Yes, that's right. So quickly, what's your...
we win this game by... we never smash anyone. We'll win by 17 points.
Christina?
Yeah, win by 21.
21.
I might go... I'll pick a prime number as well, 37.
Ooh.
I think
that's a comfortable win.
Yeah, I think I might be comfortable.
Excellent.
Yeah, we're going to be out-tanked. And then this will be our last win.
Yeah.
Unless... Play West Coast again?
I don't think so. We play St Kilda later in the year. Do you reckon we can beat St Kilda?
Oh, they kind of... That's their grand
Carlton.
final.
We got Carlton.
We got Carlton, yes.
No, they'll win. We'll let them win. No, we need to need to tank.
Will we see Vigo?
Yes.
Tigers.
I hope so.
I get why he was dropped. Not because he was dropped, but because we have Goldie now. I don't think we're going to have Goldie next year. And the kid's 19. He's going to play football. Like, there's no need to rush him in. We saw what happened to our other two rucks who we persisted with and didn't manage properly. And he obviously had a really massive tackle. So I'm not one of those people who were gobsmacked and disappointed that they dropped that they dropped Vigo. You can develop perfectly well in the VFL. There's no need to rush them straight to the seniors when your body's clearly not ready. And I want to give shout out there based on that one, David King on SEN. He put Todd Goldstein in the gun as the guy most under most pressure this week to perform. So I think it's just ridiculous, just pure bias. So yeah, stuff you, King.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
I think Vigo got something like 45 hit-outs in VFL or something like that.
Yeah. Brian was in there for ages. Maybe Brian was in there for too long, but you can build an apprenticeship in the VFL. There's still genuine rucks over there, and quite a few AFL-listed players work on your craft, build your body, and then you come into the AFL. There's no need to rush him straight in.
Yeah, we don't want to break him like we've done all the others.
Exactly.
Yes. All right. Well, on that note, so obviously I didn't do a song of the week. A bit too busy. But I am going to pull out. I was thinking about it. I'll pull out the one I did a couple of years ago about playing 4:40 on a Sunday afternoon, because I know this was different. But what I am hoping is, as we get better, we're not subjected to these stupid fixture times. And I know it suited some people, and it was kind of nice to get home and, actually, it's just still a bit of the day left.
Yeah.
But I want to be playing box office prime time. I don't want to be playing, 12:15 on a fucking Saturday.
Well, we've got Saturday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday twilight, Friday night. We've got quite a few Friday nights to end the year.
Yeah, but we don't want to do it now when we're shit and we're tanking.
Yeah. I don't know what the AFL were thinking at this point. Like, good idea. Let's put the team decimated by injuries on every prime time slot from here to the end of the year.
When are we playing Geelong?
We're playing them Friday night, August the 8th, round 22 at GMHBA Stadium. So that's prime time crucifixion, really. It's pretty interesting.
Maybe, I don't know. God, put the white flags out. Put multiple white flags out, like with boundary goal umpires all around the ground.
Yeah.
We just keep waving them.
Correct. Well, I'm going to watch the fencing that night. I'm telling you, you think about it. That catapulted to number one in the world, fencing without the armour.
Just you can leave the armour, but take off the masks. I want to see the facial reactions of them as they're, trying to focus and I want to see the faces.
Yeah, instead of having the little strainer over their face.
Exactly.
Well, no, they did bring in Perspex masks, and we did have them for Sabre for a little bit, but they get lots of scratches on them, and they had all Perspex ones with like little holes in them. But one of the male fencers got it and pushed his fist through it and went, there you go. We're not using those.
Okay.
And there was actually, at a World Champs, they had a mesh on and these two FAS, which they hit with the point. They fleshed at each other with the points sort of going at each other. And one went into an opponent through the mask, through his eye, and killed him.
Why didn't you mention that before? That's a much better story than the duel that never happened. When was this?
The duel in Romania that no one died in.
It was actually, I think it was in the 80s, and then after then, all equipment's got to be of a certain quality and level. But yeah, the guy died on the piece. The blade went straight through his eyeball.
And I assume the other guy wins in that circumstance. Was that a win?
Well, it's in the middle of the bout. They hadn't finished yet, so,
The operation was a success, but the patient died.
Yes. Yeah.
TBC. But we won't get like Kevlar, like stuff. We have like 3 or 4 layers. Like I have a breastplate on. It's like this plastic thing underneath, and then you got a plastron, which is the shoulder thing. Then you got your Kevlar, and then you have this other lame. So you got like 4 layers.
The men wear given the nature of the sport, I would have thought a cod piece would be appropriate.
They do.
Great.
Is it
Sign me up.
Kevlar as well?
What?
Kevlar for the cod piece.
No, they're like cricket ones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So, yeah. No, and I got some pretty nasty bruises, and I got hit in the collarbone.
Jesus.
She whacked me, and I just went, oh, and it felt numb, and my hand went numb. And you just kind of keep going, and then when I looked, she actually cut through all those layers, and I was actually bleeding through on my collarbone.
Jesus Christ.
So, and I've had hand cuts, bruises, all kinds of stuff. But if it stops hurting after 5 minutes, you don't worry about it.
You cut through Kevlar?
Yeah. She hit me that hard. It's on the bone. That's the worst, when they hit you on the bone. So,
you know what? The most dangerous sport I ever played was at high school. For a few months there, we used to play rock fights. We would just throw rocks at each other. And then one day, one kid went to hospital and it all ended.
We used to play British Bulldogs, and I went to a girls' school. Do you know that? Does people know British Bulldogs? It's basically like rugby.
Yeah. That was. And it
was outlawed at most schools. But
we outlawed hockey because the one bright spark thought here, this is in the northern suburbs, thought we'd play hockey, and we just ended up hitting each other.
So like lacrosse.
Yeah, pretty much. But anyway, we really are rambling, so we're going to fuck off. So Thanks to everyone that listened. Check out our sponsor, Something About Cake, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, go Bombers!
Down the Dons.
Go Bombers.
We used to play on Friday night. Herd and Lloyd, oh what a sight. Now all our games are on Sunday afternoon. So I just hang around, watching the rest of the round, waiting until Sunday afternoon. Save me, save me, save this, please. We got the AFL fixture trying to break me. So I wait around all patiently in this football purgatory, waiting for 4:40 on Sunday afternoon. In the winter time, it's too early to go to a bar. It's too late for my ma and pa. Such a shit time to go to the footy. So now I'm sitting here, handshaking cold plastic beer at 4:40 on Sunday afternoon. Save me, save me, save me from this, please. We got the AFL fixture trying to break me. So I wait around so patiently in this football purgatory, waiting for 40 on Sunday afternoon.